This woman should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal. She made up a scandal about Trump being a Russian asset. And they banked on the intel agencies working with her to perpetuate this lie, and it appears they were only too happy to assist.
What happens when years of political power, polished lines, and well-rehearsed comebacks collide with Megyn Kelly's sharp precision? It's nothing short of a head-on crash. Hillary Clinton spent decades building her protective political shell, but Megyn arrived fully armed, with facts sharper than a scalpel and humor that sliced through every layer of pretense. No soft touches, no hesitation, just a direct takedown unfolding in front of everyone. This wasn't a friendly jab. It was a real reckoning, and Hillary never expected the spotlight to turn on her so suddenly.
We now know how Russiagate got started, and we know that it was all a lie started by the Hillary Clinton campaign. That the Hillary Clinton campaign realized she was in trouble because of her email scandal, which had broken in 2015 in the wake of Benghazi. We found these emails of hers that were weird, and people were like, what server was that on, and so on. And it created a problem for her all the way up.
Every time Hillary Clinton steps onto a stage, she carries the baggage of past scandals and failures, yet still projects a sense of entitlement. Megyn Kelly didn't just acknowledge that baggage, she dragged it into the light with a spotlight, a microphone, and razor-sharp sarcasm that cut through Hillary's rehearsed smiles. At this point, Hillary no longer feels like a serious politician. Instead, she comes across more like a rerun, playing over and over, pretending to still be the headline act while the audience has already moved on.
A bit more of a description. Here's a part, I won't make you watch the whole, a part of the trailer for Gutsy.
Okay, here we go. We're hitting the road to shine a light on women who inspire us to be bolder and braver.
Leadership doesn't look one way. It's a giant rainbow.
You're not gonna break me down. You'll get worn out before I do.
Women who push us outside our comfort zone.
Megyn didn't need to search hard for weak points. Hillary's career history is full of political mistakes, served alongside deleted emails and excuses like, "It wasn't my fault." Watching Hillary talk about leadership is like watching a GPS constantly recalculating after a driver has already gone straight into the wrong path. And Megyn? She's the one in the back seat asking why anyone trusted this driver with the keys in the first place.
So Hillary Clinton is now pretending like she did not call Donald Trump an illegitimate president when he beat her in 2016. She's expressing her horror and how indignant she is over him challenging the 2020 election results. And okay, that's fine. You can say you don't like how Trump behaved after, whatever, his loss, January 6th, the whole bit. But you cannot, if you are Hillary Clinton, play the whatever challenge and...
There's an almost comic quality to Hillary's attempts to stay relevant, keeping herself in the public eye through podcasts, campus talks, and interviews that often come across as condescending. But Megyn wasn't there to play along. She lit the match and let the illusion collapse in front of the audience. Hillary's idea of leadership doesn't inspire. It just makes people crave quiet. Every time she appears, it reminds people of the political missteps they had hoped were behind them.
You guys, but just for the record, let's play SOT 10.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
Hillary doesn't campaign anymore. She lingers, like a pop-up ad no one wants, asking if you'd like to subscribe to failure, and Megyn turned every second of that lingering into comedy gold. Take the Clinton Foundation. It's less a foundation and more a monument to missed opportunities, dressed up to look like charity work. And when Hillary speaks about integrity, the irony is so heavy, it feels like the universe itself is laughing. tripping over classified documents and crashing headfirst into the obvious contradictions.
And as she got closer to Election Day, she decided to concoct 2 lies about Donald Trump to distract from her email scandal. She got the Steele dossier through this Fusion GPS company that her campaign paid, and she got this group CrowdStrike, which was the one responsible for the hack into that. That's the one that said that the Russians hacked.
Megyn didn't need to stretch the truth. She simply held up a mirror, and Hillary's own choices did the rest. Her moral compass spins wildly. Always landing on deflect, she burns bridges, then gives lectures about unity, often while waving around yet another speech titled, "Why I Should Have Won." Megyn just pointed at the wreckage and asked, "How many times does history have to say no thanks before you finally hear it?" The strange part? Hillary still believes she's feared. Not respected, feared. Like she's the final boss in some outdated video game. Except now the cheat codes don't work, the graphics are glitching, and the soundtrack is nothing but excuses, blaming Russia, sexism, bad weather, even gravity. Megyn cut through the spin like a knife through butter. There's denial, and then there's Hillary, a masterclass in branding without the charm, loaded with contradictions at every turn. Remember when she tried to look relatable? As if swapping a pantsuit for a flannel shirt could undo decades of evasions, half smiles, and carefully crafted images.
Hillary Clinton just weighed in publicly again on why she lost. And just in case you were thinking it was because she didn't go to Wisconsin, you are wrong. It is you, women of America. It is your fault. She now sits down for an interview and decides that the reason she didn't win is American females. That they didn't like that she wasn't.
Megyn Kelly turned Hillary's entire act into something that looked like a late-night comedy sketch, the kind interns might write after losing touch with reality years ago. Hillary walks into interviews with an air that suggests the world owes her endless gratitude just for existing in our lifetime. Megyn took that arrogance, turned it into a piñata, blindfolded herself, and still managed to break it apart with humor sharper than anything in Hillary's outdated policy binders. When Hillary talks about transparency, it sounds less like honesty and more like a magician hinting at secrets. Always a wink, always a trapdoor. Her speeches are weighed down with endless footnotes, like a tax audit that no one wants to read. Megyn didn't dig through the fine print. She just skimmed, laughed, and highlighted the contradictions that were impossible to miss. If any truth exists in Hillary's words, it's buried behind firewalls, wrapped in red tape, and hidden under layers of carefully constructed deniability. And then there are the political casualties, staffers who burned out, donors who walked away, allies who soured, and even whole regions that once voted for her but never returned. Hillary treats political loyalty like a short-term lease. Megyn flipped that lease into a punchline, because nothing screams "I care about the people" like cashing in $250,000 speaking fees from banks, followed by social media posts about wage equality, typed from a private Gulfstream jet.
Hillary Clinton decided to drop an op-ed in the New York Times today that's entitled, "How much dumber will this get?" And she uses Signalgate and the messaging by Pete Hegseth and Mike Walls and JD Vance and Tulsi and others on there as the jumping off point to talk about how dumb the Trump administration is. Some highlights. She calls the...
Then comes Hillary's constant shifting of identity. One day she's a progressive fighter. The next, she's a centrist pragmatist. Soon after, she's a feminist icon, only to suddenly present herself as a foreign policy expert with all the charm of a frozen spreadsheet. Megyn didn't just laugh at this flip-flopping. She strapped it to a rocket and blasted it into the fantasy world where Hillary's most loyal fans still believe 2016 was just a clerical mistake. Hillary's style has always been to rebrand and reboot. The product stays the same, but the packaging keeps changing. The slogans? They sound like tired echoes from political history. Watching her shift blame feels like watching a slow-motion performance art routine nobody asked for. Megyn didn't interrupt. She simply let the show play out, and then delivered her critique with the relief of someone who had been waiting years for the curtain to fall. The act is worn out, the moves rehearsed, and the spotlight dimming. Megyn just held up a mirror so the audience could see who really lost track of the steps. Hillary's bond with power is like a child shaking an empty piggy bank, hoping one more coin might fall out. And for someone who claims to unite people, Hillary has an unmatched ability to divide them. Whenever she enters a room, the atmosphere shifts, part confusion, part fatigue, all performance. Megyn simply turned up the volume on that awkward silence, making sure the audience heard the punchline clearly.
Are gutsy. And in case you just need a little bit more of a description, here's a part, I won't make you watch the whole, a part of the trailer for Gutsy.
Okay, here we go. We're hitting the road to shine a light on women who inspire us to be bolder and braver.
Leadership doesn't look one way. It's a giant rainbow.
You're not gonna.
Hillary's obsession with legacy is where the real humor lies. She wants to be remembered as the trailblazer who shattered ceilings. But in practice, all she's done is sweep the shards into a corner and charge admission for people to come take a look. Megyn poked right through that glass statue, revealing only hollow slogans and recycled press releases inside. Hillary dreams of pages in history books, but what she delivers is more like skipped chapters and tiny footnotes. And make no mistake, she hasn't stepped out of the political fight. She's still in it, throwing jabs from the sidelines like a commentator who has forgotten the basic rules of the game. Megyn turned those jabs into a blooper reel for everyone to laugh at. Each tweet, every speech, every smirk after dodging accountability, they all land like a sitcom missing its laugh track. And there's Megyn, relaxed, sipping facts, pointing out the plot holes with a grin. Hillary keeps showing up like an answer to a question nobody has asked since 2016. These days, her whole operation feels like a string of passive-aggressive interviews and book tours that sell about as well as decorative paperweight.
For a minute, Hillary Clinton is back, doing a late-night tour. She spoke with Jimmy Fallon, and she had some thoughts on this boiling down to Trump versus Biden again.
What do you say to voters who are upset that those are the two choices?
Get over yourself. Those are the two choices.
Yeah, I love that.
Right? And
good.
you know, it's kind of like one is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares about people. And one is old and has been charged with 90.
Megyn Kelly didn't just go after Hillary's image, she exposed the entire business model. Power propped up by nostalgia, strategy based on memory, and relevance forced through sheer repetition. Every time Hillary tries to rewrite the story, Megyn comes back with receipts and reads the fine print. There's this idea that Hillary is untouchable because she has been through so much. Sure, but if so much means decades of calculated ambition, carefully crafted optics, and somehow avoiding the full impact of consequences, then yes. Megyn tore through that idea like it was part of a PR packet. She wasn't mocking Hillary's hardships. She was mocking the spin. There's a difference between true resilience and rehearsed deflection. Hillary has lived in the second category since before smartphones even existed. Megyn didn't need to destroy her character. Hillary had already written the character, produced the play, and passed out the programs herself. All Megyn did was remind people that the big twist never came. Watching Hillary reinvent herself every few years is like seeing yet another reboot of a show nobody wanted back. The script never changes, only the lighting does. Megyn pulled back the curtain, pointed at the recycled set, and asked the obvious question. If the ending is always the same, maybe the story was never that strong in the first place.
Joe and Kamala can win by 3 million votes and still lose. Take it from me. So we need numbers overwhelming so Trump can't sneak or steal his way to victory.
Okay. So why can't a smart guy like Mar know that? I mean, he genuinely seemed surprised to hear this from me. He doesn't, I think it's just his true hatred.
Here's the ironic part. Hillary still acts like the microphone belongs to her. She takes the stage with old confidence, pitching policy ideas like they weren't rejected years ago. Megyn didn't need to debate her. She simply showed what happens when style tries to outlast substance. The audience has changed. The music is off-key. The applause is nothing but faint echoes from rallies long past. Hillary is still trying to write a new act, but Megyn has already aired the blooper reel, the behind-the-scenes footage, and the weary expressions of staffers who've seen it all before. Between the memoirs and the photo ops, the truth is undeniable. Hillary Clinton isn't the future, she's the punchline. And Megyn made sure the crowd had front row seats. Hillary still walks into rooms as if destiny cheated her, as if history itself owes her a victory. Megyn didn't let that fantasy survive. She crushed it with a stack of reality checks and a closet full of unanswered questions. If Hillary has one true strength, it's not solving scandals, it's simply surviving them.
Storyline around the Russians doing these terrible things in tandem with Donald Trump in order to, yes, hurt Trump, but also mostly to distract from her own scandal. And we also know that Obama knew. He knew about it. He was told by his intelligence agencies in the late summer and fall of 2016 at the—
And Megyn didn't just mention those scandals. She dug them up, dusted them off, and turned them into a fireworks display of absurdity. There's no version of Hillary that hasn't been polished, tested, and packaged by consultants. Every haircut, every tone of speech, every attempt at a viral moment, it's all manufactured, like a product launch. But Megyn stripped away the packaging. Underneath, what's left is someone who has rewritten her own story more times than she's given straight answers. That's where the jokes cut deepest, right at the myth Hillary built about herself. She's no longer feared. She's analyzed, criticized, and parodied. Megyn made it clear. Whatever aura Hillary once had has faded under too many failed comebacks and too few answers. She's not a phoenix rising from the ashes. She's just a rerun. And every return looks less like a revival and more like leftover stage smoke. Politics has already moved forward. New faces, new scandals, fresh controversies. Yet Hillary lingers, auditioning for a part in a show that was canceled long ago. Megyn didn't need to shout it. She simply pointed to the empty spotlight. And that's the sting. Hillary built a legacy she can't escape. Her name has become more punchline than promise. In the end, Megyn didn't just break the myth. She reminded everyone exactly why nobody is asking for a sequel.